excited when my father talked about like Earl Campbell, O.J. Simpson, and Walter Payton, Archie Griffin, Jim Brown. I mean, he would just rant and rave and just go off about how he loved watching them run the rock, take it down the right sideline and up the gut. You know, that just excited me. So for me, I always wanted to, I looked up to my father more than anything. I never seen my father play a down of football. But how he talked about the game and how he loved the game, I wanted him to talk about me in the same way. And yeah, that meant a lot. So I started watching games with him. We watched Monday Night Football, and we hear Howard Cosell and the music going on, and just to love it. I get chills every time I think about it. But for me, it was just watching all the great running backs in that particular. That was a great era of running backs. And that's professionally and in college. You had Marcus Allen, you had Bo Jackson, you had Herschel Walker, Anthony Dorsett. I mean, just Tony Dorsett. Just a slew of great running backs during that era that just inspired me to want to become one of them.
Anybody got a question for you?
I have a quick question for Archie. Did you carry both of your Heismans on the plane?
Did I carry both? No, I didn't. They sent the Heisman to the university for me. Eddie has a story about carrying his on the plane. But at that time, I don't think they had those machines either that you have to stick your trophy on, which I couldn't believe they asked Eddie to stick his trophy on the detector machine in the first place. But no, they sent them to me. Yeah. They boxed them up and sent them. Yeah.
So now I didn't break it. The people at LaGuardia broke my trophy.
That's right.
Archie said it. You know, I didn't put it on there willingly. Reluctantly, I put it on there. And as you can see, the dimensions of this thing will not fit in the X-ray machine. Right? I mean, so it was horrible. It was terrible.
I couldn't believe they even asked him to put it in.
Oh, you put it in there, it got stuck. They had to go get Vaseline and put it on the top of the thing and pull it on and yank it on it. Oh man, it was terrible. It was terrible.
It was a finger that broke off, right?
Yeah, it was the middle finger.
Yeah.
It was the middle finger.
Yeah. The most important one.
Appropriate one, right?
Because when you came back to Port Columbus, we were all there waiting to interview you.
Yeah.
And
I'm sitting there with a Heisman with the finger bent back. And you're right.
Hey, Archie, Eddie. Was there any extra preparation done during those last weeks of each season when you had to prepare for that team up north? Any special things that the team had to do to prepare for that?
Well, we used to consider Michigan, that team up north, as a separate season. Period. I mean, there was the spring ball where we prepared for the team up north. I mean, that's all of our practices were all geared towards the team up north. There was the regular season, and then we called it Michigan season. We called it Michigan season. And that week was totally different from any other week, period. I mean, it just went to another level. I mean, the practices were intense. You don't make mistakes in practice during that week, because you would certainly hear about it. He would always take us over to the stadium that week, and we were playing at the place up north. He would turn on the loudspeakers, put as much noise on as you could possibly hear, and we would practice there. But you didn't want to make mistakes that week. He even had this big rug that he would roll out that we would step on. Every time we'd leave the locker room to go to practice, we'd be stepping on Michigan. And it was just totally a different week. Really, really intense. And he would always have a former player come in and talk to us about his experience at Michigan. And I'll never forget my freshman year and how I was impacted by the player that came in and talked to us. It was a guy by the name of Dave Whitfield, who was a great player at Ohio State. And Dave Whitfield came in there. It was the Monday of that week. Team sitting down in the meeting, and Coach Hayes introduced him, and he came and talked to us. And when he got through, I mean, this guy was crying, yelling. He finished that speech, and I can never forget this. He said, "This is not a game. This is war." And I look around the room, and I see tears coming out of my teammates' eyes. And I'm thinking, man, what did I get myself into? But it was a totally different week. And Dave Whitfield, he knew how to bring it home. He knew how to bring it home. And of course, we went out there and we won that game that freshman year. And and it was a game that we were not supposed to win. Michigan got really, really stubborn. We held them 3 or 4 times on the goal line. We had 3 or 4 goal line stands. Our defense played a great game that particular game. But it's totally a different week.
You know, Archie, when you were talking about the speech, it takes me to back, I think it was in 2004. My last season I played in the NFL came up. Jim Tressel was up there with the group. I think they lost 2 games at that point in time. In Michigan, clear day. Troy Smith was the quarterback, San Antonio home. That was before Troy's Heisman year. And I remember coming in, I'm thinking, you know what, okay, 4-time Pro Bowler, played the Super Bowl, all this stuff. The Michigan game is, all right, let's give a pregame speech, tell them to go out there, play hard, and just going about my business and enjoy the game. Real easy. So I get there, and I hadn't been there since I lost to them in 1995. So I walk in, immediate tunnel, dark tunnel, right down to the field, going to the slant. This locker room's to the right. I'm like, ooh, man, this is not a good feeling already. I just don't like the feeling already. Go out there. I'm standing outside, just taking it in. Like, okay, this is the environment, big house, and the fans are starting to come in a little bit. All of a sudden, there's this guy with no one around him. Archie was standing right there with me, standing by himself. And says, "F you, Eddie." I didn't say anything. I said, okay. I said, Eddie, don't pay him no more. And he says again, "I said it. That's right. F you, Eddie George." And I said, okay. I said, all right. I said, okay. All right, you know what? I'll eat that. And then students start coming in. And they said, "Oh, yeah, Eddie George, remember 1995? Tim Biakabatuka, number 2 in the country, running it all the way down." Now, all of a sudden, I feel the energy coming up. I'm feeling that. I said, okay. I said, all right, you know what? I came out there decked. I had an overcoat on, I had a scarf and a hat, bob hat, thinking I'm cool. By the time it was time for me to go back to the locker and deliver that speech, scarf off, jacket off, pacing back and forth into the locker room, cannot wait to deliver the speech. And I remember I pulled Coach Tressel to the side. I said, "Coach, listen, I hope you don't mind if I, curse a little bit, because that's what you want to get right now. It's just going to do your thing." And immediately, when it was time for me to speak, the tears coming out of my eyes and the words coming out of my mouth, I said, "This is not a game. It's a war." You go down there in that tunnel and you take with every blue helmet that you see and you make the way out of it. With one solid goal. So to say the least, it never leaves your blood. And I am a 40-year-old man, and every time that game comes on, that particular game, only that game, I turn into a different animal. I want to find a helmet, shoulder pads, anything to play in that game, because it never leaves you. Because Archie is right, it is not
it is not a regular game. Everything turns up another level. You pay attention to detail during the course of that week. And that's the only time your teammates will hold you accountable if you make a mistake. If you're out in the wrong A gap, they're on your behind because it is so imperative, it's important. And this year, Michigan was terrible the last 3-4 games leading up to that game. Devin Gardner played his behind off, the quarterback from Michigan, on one leg. And that's the intensity behind that game for both sides. So I don't know any other rivalry in sports that can match the intensity of this one, but it is true to form. It never leaves your blood. And I have an 8-year-old son in the back that if I say the M word, he's on top of me. Is that team up north. So it's in him too.
That's great. I'll tell you, I'm surprised everyone Eddie didn't just get up and run to lunch with inspiration. He can lead them out of the locker room, can't he? I'll tell you, if we could hide these guys in uniforms again, we'd suit them up. They look like they could play. And I hear for Archie Griffin and Eddie George.